Aloha! Welcome back, kids. It's a long time since I've seen you. It's I said in the last episode I might throw something in the ringer on Tuesday, but they called me in. They always call you in, it seems like, when they're shorthanded. And you can be selfish or not selfish. And I figured, they need help. If I'm off on Friday, I could do an episode on Friday. As you well know, all you subscribers, you're saying, you said last Sunday that you do one back to back, but you missed another Sunday, Uncle Martin. I know, I felt that. I felt that from somebody. A lot of you, I guess, to where, I might have to do a back to back. I don't know if I can do it tonight because, excuse me. I'll keep this short then. Okay, this is a thumbnail. The thumbnail is I blame you. Not that I blame you, but that's the thumbnail. I blame you. And that's the question I have for you kids. What happens when you do blame someone and you find out that it's not their fault? You feel pretty crummy, don't you? Especially when you say it. I blame you! And they're saying, no, it was not me. It wasn't me. I blame you. You stole my bike. No, I didn't steal your bike. I don't even know how to ride a bike. I know it was you. You stole my bike. And they're your best friend, and they're saying, no, I didn't do it. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you said that, there goes your bike. Somebody else has your bike, and they're smiling. I borrowed your bike. And how do you feel? You just blamed your best friend or somebody that you just know. Your mind knew that they stole, but you didn't see it. But you know, and your heart didn't say it, but your mind, you went with your mind. That's what happens when we go with our mind and not our heart, kids. I've gone over that in the past, but we'll just keep this simple and short this time. It's going to be a short one. I blame you. Whenever we think it or say it, depending on how close we are with our attunement to ourselves, that's knowing and understanding more of our subconscious that has all the feelings and it has all the memory. Then that alignment alone will give then opportunity for the higher self to come in and give you a little more understanding. Because that subconscious has a lot of emotion to it, as you well know or not know, that you have to have more control consciously over, or not. But once you start thinking this way, kids, as I've said in the past, once you start thinking this way, that alignment that we should eventually have by the time you, get to my experience, that you would have an understanding that you don't want to be saying that or even thinking it when you haven't seen that person. And then when you do see that person, then you're going to be tested on another level too. But I'm not going to go there. I'm just going with the simple facts of whenever you say, it's your fault, I know you did it. And as soon as you say it, and then you stop saying it because it's happened so many times, you feel so crummy that you say, well, I'm not going to say that anymore, but I'm going to think it because I'm a bad. And what happens as soon as you think it, because now you've come into more, excuse me, the alignment, this alignment that we have. It could take, depending on how aligned you are, it could take up to a year that you thought about it, and then all of a sudden, oh wow, it wasn't that guy at all. It wasn't those people at all. It was somebody else. And then it was like last year. And then all of a sudden it's within a half a year. And then all of a sudden it's within 3 months. Then 2 months. And it's a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden it's within a few hours. Then all of a sudden it's within a few seconds that you thought, that son of a gun is the guy. And all of a sudden, boop, 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 that person shows up that really did it. Oh man, I don't care what the time frame is. You always feel it's the crummiest feeling you have when you blame somebody that you know it was them and it turns out it wasn't. And since we're on that topic of blaming someone, we have to understand, like in that episode, whatever it was, I was on my second fourth grade out of my fourth grades. And I said, Mom, look what Johnny did to my Blue Army man. He melted him down. He's my best friend. And Mom says, oh, really? He's your best friend? Yeah, he's my best friend, Mom. Well, it's your fault. Your fault. My fault, Mom. I gave him my best Blue Army men, and he melted them down. He needed the casualties. He needed, what do they call casualties? Whatever they call them. He had to melt them down. Not his, but mine. So she said, it's your fault, son. You said he's your best friend, and you gave him too much responsibility. It's your fault. So once Mom told me that, I looked at friendship in a different way, that's all. I kind of looked at it as when I had friends that didn't make the mark, and I was so disappointed. I didn't point fingers at them, and I didn't call them names, and I didn't do any of that stuff. I just realized these people that I put as friends, what happened was I just gave them too much responsibility. So it was my fault. So that kind of correlates into blaming people too. To some extent, whenever you blame people, like I was blaming him for doing something wrong, when in reality it was my fault, not his. So when we can see that, we have to realize also, you really have no friends on this planet, terrific or terrible, however you're looking at it. What I mean by that is you have no friends. Whoever's in a body, physical body, they just very well may let you down. I don't care who it is. It could be just the most spiritual person or whatever, whoever they are. They have their own issues that they're going to deal with on some level, and they may let you down. In fact, when it comes down to it, I think there's probably just the angels and God that can really not let you down when it comes down to it. Because anybody in a physical form, if you think about it, they're human. They have faults, and that's interesting too, isn't it? Once you get to a certain level, people say, "Oh no," and you put that person on a pedestal, which you should never do anyway. I know Hollywood does. They put everybody, all the stars, up on pedestals. But even the stars will tell you, hopefully they'll tell you, they're only human too. They can, in fact, that's how it works. Once you get put up on the pedestal, people can't wait to rip you down. I don't know why they do that. Why would anyone want to do that? I guess it's human nature, isn't it? They build you up to a great height, and they just love to pull the rug out from under you. There's some people out there like that, kids. And so long as you're going to understand that there's going to be people that do that, don't get excited about it when they do it to you. That's all. I'm sure somebody's going to hopefully not do it to Uncle Martin, ever do that. Who would want to do that? I guess there's always people out there that want to do that, and that'll be something that they have to deal with on their own time. So I guess that's all I wanted to say about I blame you. There is no blaming anyone. It comes down to you take responsibility for what you do. As you've known in the past, I've done that on Hot Beans when I went to jail. And I don't know, a lot of my life, I pretty much, the bosses one with how I dealt with Ed Beacons. I was the only one that came forward and told the truth. Everybody else had amnesia. Not like I do remember 25 when I had amnesia 2 weeks before I was going to graduate. And I started reading a book or 2 weeks before I was going to graduate. And as you all know, that I did not read a book after my fourth grade because of what the teacher did. So from fourth grade to whatever amount of schools it was, 20, and I did graduate at the last 2 weeks. When the amnesia one, episode 25, amnesia, how I did get through that. And then, of course, episode 24, when sister calls me and I just got off the phone with your mother. And I told her you're not going to graduate. I left her in tears. I was thinking, sister, that sounds awful negative. And she was waiting for me to say, why? And then she said, because you're not going to graduate. Why would someone do that to you? Well, obviously, we had some karmic things to work out. We all go through our trials and tribulations on this little planet. And hopefully, no matter how negative it is, you can see that they are just trials and tribulations. And no matter how dark it is and how negative it is, we all stay on this planet until it's time for us to leave. And not before. That's all I'll say about it for right now. I would say that whenever you blame someone, depending on what alignment you have with your subconscious, conscious, and higher self, it comes back much quicker, the more aligned you are with yourselves. So, maybe that'll hit home for somebody, maybe it won't. But Uncle Martin doesn't blame anyone verbally or mentally anymore. Because that crummy feeling when you get, oh, when you say it, it's even worse. But when you think it, it's just as bad, isn't it? You thought somebody did something and you find out immediately within like 3 minutes that you were totally wrong. How do you feel? You got to feel crummy. So we got to stop or not stop doing it. I would say it's more positive to not blame anyone, because you could blame them and you'll never find out if it was them or not. I'm just saying, once you get into that attunement, into that alignment, boy, does it ever come back to you so quick. So, this is a short one. That's what happens when I blame you. Comes back usually very quickly for you when you start getting that alignment, which we all have to do, hopefully consciously someday. So I'm going to go grab a fast bite because I'm going to do it back to back. I do have something in mind. It just came to me right now. It's about Dad. When we were coming down from Flagstaff, and the silhouette that I had with Dad doing what he did, and it'll be under, the thumbnail will be under, when you start reading something, finish what you're reading. It'll be under that kind of topic. It'll come to me. I'll have something for you. This is very short and sweet. I blame you. And what happens when you do blame someone? When you start getting connected to yourself